Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Call of the Night Season 1, Episode 5. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. I do think it's interesting that this is our first time getting to see Nazuna during the day, because obviously she wakes up in the afternoon, which I'm sure she typically will sleep during throughout the entire day, but she's kind of up and about and kind of trying to decide what she's going to do as she's eagerly having to wait for nighttime to come, because obviously it's she's always had the nightlife, but I think even more so recently because of hanging out with Ko, it's kind of like something she is very eagerly awaiting it, because she constantly checks the watch like every couple hours, and it's just because, and even later on when she goes into the bath, she's like, yeah, let me know if anything happens, and the moment it goes off, the guy's like, oh hey, before he can even finish, she rushes out of the bath, grabs the watch and goes. But it's like, yeah, because she just like eagerly awaiting it, because it's like, well, because usually I get to sometime after midnight, because I think one of the times she checks the watch, it was like 10. So typically Ko comes and checks and meets up with her like after midnight. So she knows she has time, but it's just like, the fact is, she could have easily just been like, okay, thank you, and took her time. But like, she immediately rushed out, because I think it's almost like, well, we see her playing games during the day, and she's things didn't work out during the game. She's like, well, I'm gonna make sure I use this on Ko. Like, the fact is that Ko's like in the back of her mind on like a lot of stuff that she does. It's like, well, I can incorporate this with hanging out with Ko later on. Oh well, let me just kind of wander around town. She's like, oh, the people around here look glum. Well, she also there was a mishap with a package she had, and it didn't happen, because she's like, it was supposed to be delivered, but they said like we missed her. But she's like, I set the delivery times to always be while I'm awake and not when I'm up. So it's like somehow they ended up missing her. I don't know if she ended up falling asleep early or whatever the case may be. So I'm curious what the thing was, and will that come back in a future element of the story. But yeah, she went back into her place. She's like, well, I guess I could clean, but then she's like, it is nighttime, but she's like, I'm never usually that concerned about my neighbors, but now she's like, that could also be noisy. It's like, well, I could always do laundry. I like being able to take the clothes out and leave them out to dry, and then to be drying while I'm sleeping, and then when I'm woken up again at night, hey, they're drying everything. But then like, she's sitting watching TV about like an iron being sold, and she just like, what am I doing? Like, it's nighttime, I need to live it up. But then, like I said, she goes out, she sees all those glum faces. It's like, well, are the people really glum, or is it more a thing of they're not the people you want to hang out with? So she plays with the cat, has to go to the bath afterwards. I guess you could also make the argument she made that excuse of like, oh, did she really have to go through the trouble going to the bath? It's more like, well, I need to kill even more time, and that will use up the most time. Obviously talks about the issue of being a vampire and no reflection. So once again, little tidbits we're learning about vampirism in this world. Like, the traditional thing is you can't go out during daylight, and the fact is that keeps coming up, implies like, which some stuff has kind of gotten around at. Like, there's a series called Reggie the Vampire. It's based off a series of books called The Fat Vampire. But yeah, they just get around by like having umbrellas. I feel like other stuff has done that too, but that's like the most recent thing I could think of that's utilized. Like, oh, we're just like under a parasol or umbrella, you're able to kind of avoid the sunlight. Either way, the moment they're reunited, Ko doesn't know how to act, because she's like, "Oh, what? You think just because my hairstyle's a little different, I'm a little..." Because she's not wearing like her cloak like she normally is. It's like a hoodie that she's basically wearing, and it's like, because normally she wears like kind of like these leggings slash or like high socks, and like, I actually don't know what she wears footwear wise, but it's like she's just wearing like sneakers here. But like, Ko's kind of captivated by it, and it's like, oh, because I mean, she's also got her hair down, because normally she has it like pinned up in that braid that she normally has. So he's kind of captivated by this, and then he goes into the bath too, which we get some interesting insight for him, because like, he's like, the issue with is like, well, first and foremost, he's never been in a bath, and so Nazuna's kind of opened his world up to a lot of stuff he's never gotten to experience before. But the problem is, being a bath like gets him thinking, and thinking's not always the best thing for him, because it's like, it puts into question a lot of stuff, because he's bringing up like the whole him and Nazuna, which he likes hanging out with her, but the problem is it's got him feeling a lot of things he's never really felt before. He's gotten a lot more in touch with his feelings and feeling things like he was never really quite sure, because even Nazuna teased him like, oh, I thought you said like you really had no interest in girls, but obviously like you're quite easily captivated by them. But it's like specifically her in general like captivates him, and just he feels things he's not quite sure how to feel about it. And he kind of talks about it later that he kind of feels guilty feeling the way he does, because it's like, right, you're my friend, and feeling the ways I'm feeling about you, thinking the things I'm thinking, feels immoral to me. Because it's kind of that thing of like, right, like should you really be kind of in a sense be thinking about your friend in such a way, especially because he hasn't had too many friends, and so it is that thing of, are you conflating like your friendship with someone and confusing it with love? Which, hey, I've been in that situation. I've really had a thing for like someone I've been a friend with first and then developing feelings for. Does not happen that often. Like, it's happened at least once or twice in my life. More often than not, it's just like, well, at least the time frame between me being friends with someone and turning into a significant other is usually short. There was like one occasion where there was like a couple years of friendship before I started developing feelings for the person. My point is, like, it probably makes Cole kind of feel a little weird when it's like, hey, this is the person I'm a friend with and I'm developing feelings for you. But it's also like, how do I know what, like, is it real what I'm feeling, considering like, well, last episode they had the whole conversation about like, oh, like you're thinking there's more to the kiss than not, but it's like, yeah, like you're confusing love with lust. And so he doesn't know what to think and what to feel, but you know, he wants to try and pretend like everything is normal, but immediately like he lets her drink his blood. And he talks about the benefits of it. One, when he's kind of like overflowed with like emotion and thinking a lot, it helps calm him down a lot. But also it puts things in perspective for him, because he'll always know where he stands to some degree with Nazuna, because the moment she tastes his blood, like as long as he's like, as long as he doesn't become a vampire, it's proof that he isn't in love with her. But she clocks that as well, because she can taste it in his blood. It's like, right, I can feel it, like what's kind of, I get a vague notion of what's going through your mind. But she talks about that later on. I mean, granted, she almost drained him because she kept going, like, because his blood was so tasty. But for him, it's like, you know, it's very painful, but there is such a, like, arousal to it. Once again, adding in the you know, the kind of almost sexual angle to, like, you know, having your blood drained. So they go to a spot which kind of, I guess in all intents and purposes, it was basically a love motel, but Ko didn't know what it was. But Nazuna, of course, doing it just because she knows how, like, awkward he'll be about it. She even suggests at one point in time, it's like, hey, why don't we basically put on porn and turn it loud and make our neighbors jealous? But then, like, finding out, oh, you have to pay for the porn here? Well, that's bullshit. So she decides not to. But yeah, she told Ko, like, it's okay to feel what you feel. In fact, she's like, your different feelings, whether it's joy, sadness, whatever, the fact is all of that makes your blood taste so different. So that's probably why, like, his rush of emotions in that moment is probably why she, like, why she, like, glommed onto him and started drinking as much as she did, why she didn't want to stop, is because those emotions make the blood taste that much better. So, but I think for him, someone, once again, who hasn't really felt all the things he's felt, being told that it's okay to feel the things he's feeling, that it isn't wrong, and also knowing that it makes his blood that much more appetizing to Nazuna, I think, like, adds to him being kind of, makes it a little bit more okay for him to be like, oh, so it's okay for me that, like, because he looked at his feelings being so confusing as, like, such a bad thing, but it's like, no, feel everything that you're feeling because it makes your blood that much more tasteful. So it's kind of nice knowing, like, right, there is a dual benefit of it, because I'm feeling what I'm feeling and I don't have to harbor any guilt over it, but also it benefits Nazuna, and I like the fact is that my blood is so tasty to her, which kind of ties into the second part of the episode where, you know, he's wondering, like, who else's blood has she tasted? But he's also like, it's the jealousy thing of, but do I really want to know who else, you know? And she's like, oh, I've tasted that person's blood. And then he's like, oh, really? Like, you don't have to, how shameful of you. You don't have to admit that. But she's like, oh, are you jealous? It's like, don't worry. I've drinking blood from men and women too. But it's also like, have you ever, like, you know, had someone consistent? Because he's like, yeah, before she started drinking my blood consistently, like, did she have one person in particular that she would drink their blood consistently? We never really got an answer for that. But apparently she would bring, her way of handling it would be like, she'd bring people back to her place, and he's just like, oh my god, you sell them on the promise of naughty services? And it's like, oh, that's kind of effed up. She's like, no, there's no such thing as naughty services, but her services do include basically cosplaying a nurse's outfit, and basically it's a cuddling service, but she can also give, like, she has different prices for different things, because there's cuddling, there's like massages and stuff like that. So, and she kind of runs through the massage for Ko, which he's like, I didn't have 30 thoughts about it. I wasn't thinking 30 thoughts. I just wanted the massage. I wasn't thinking any of it. But then like her touching on him, like literally being on top of his back when she's rubbing it, or then like when she's like in front of him and it's just kind of like, oh, she's wearing this nurse uniform, like if the wrong right angle or wrong angle, depending on how you want to look at perspective wise, like I could see something, but he's not trying to look. He's trying to be not a major perv, and he's got his head face down. But she does this whole thing with his, like, the different pressure points on his body. Some feel good, some feel bad. She even notes that one of his pressure points is in his, like, near where she bites him. So it's probably like, oh, maybe that's why it also feels so good, because I'm technically hitting one of those pressure points. But before, like, they can continue, because she's about to bite, a client shows up. And initially Nozuna's like, yeah, I kind of don't want to do it because I'm super tired. So it's up to, it's not even like a, hey, you need to shoo the customer away. She was kind of going to leave it to Ko, but Ko invites the customer in, but then finds Nozuna just playing. And she's like, yo, you do it. Come on. It's a 24-year-old woman. You get to touch her body, but Ko has standards, and he's like, no, that's inappropriate. The fact of the matter is, these people come here with trust, believing that it's not going to be anything lewd or like try to take advantage. That they come here, and it's like, it's very shameful for you to even suggest that. She's like, wow, what is wrong with you? Like, any other person probably would jump at that opportunity, but Ko is too much of a goody two shoes to kind of like try and take advantage of people that way. But Nozuna's kind of like, you kind of have to do it for me, because me spending all that time with you at night, this is how I make my income. And it's like hanging out with you at night, the nighttime nightlife is very expensive. I also paid for that motel, so you kind of have to do this. You kind of owe me, so I'm too tired to do it, but you should do it. Please, 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 and kind of guilts him into it. And she's also like, oh, if the split of having half the money, 2,000 yen, would be his split. It's like, if you don't want that, I'll give you another reward. I can give you a kiss. And it's like, here she is teasing him so much. So we'll see how the whole situation plays out. It's interesting because Ko has always been the jealous type. His jealousy kind of been a lot more written on his face than Nazuna has an easy time reading him. It's also pretty obvious, from us. I mean, we have his internal monologue, so we have that perspective. But Nazuna, like, we've seen bits and pieces of her jealousy, but not on full display. And I'm curious, would this cause an issue, or would she use this as a means to kind of tease him even more? Just because she knows how much it would bother him, and she'd kind of get off making him a little nervous. And also, once again, you're doing a good enough job, I'll give you another kiss, and probably like teasing him in that way. She knows like it will kind of get his engines going in a sense. I can't remember. I think the customer's name is it Kiyosumi? I believe it's something like that. So I can't tell. I don't remember, even though I keep seeing the intro. I believe she's one of the characters from the intro, but she might not be, maybe. But this is also one of the few episodes where we saw a lot of random bystanders, because it might also be because Nazuna was out and about a little earlier in the day, and rather out and about a lot earlier in the night than when her and Ko usually meet up, because when they meet up, the only people they usually run into is that trio from the bars who drink. But we saw a whole bunch of passerbyers and stuff like that. So, and the fact is, they've got one of our clients showed up, so it must be decently late enough in the night. But it's like the person's an office worker, so that might also be another reason why she's here this late / early. But yeah, I'm curious. I'll pay more attention next episode in the intro to see if she's one of the characters we see, and will she be a recurring character, and what her circumstances are. But first and foremost, just how is this massage situation going to play out? We'll have to wait to see where the next episode takes us with it all. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.